Hello, everyone. I'm Charlie, and welcome back to another DraftKings UCL DFS slate breakdown. Back to only two games or 2 game weeks now. So there's no Thursday UCL slate. I don't know why they had it like that. So back to the kind of normal Tuesday, Wednesday programming. And because of that, we're getting another 7 gamer. Yeah, 7 game slate. It was crazy today. The slate, there was so many goals. I don't expect there to be quite as many for this one, just because there's not Man City and Barcelona kind of fluking the odds. So it's like these should be a lot more close, basically. And like Dortmund had that crazy game too, which was insane. I expect it to be a little bit more kind of cagey here, with the biggest favorite being Liverpool minus 500, and they have tended not to just smash teams like they did under Klopp, under Slots, a lot more methodical. So yeah, in terms of projected lineups and sets for Sturmgras, it should be a Horvat monopoly. There's a chance that Boving takes something, but Horvat is the main guy. For Club Brugge, it should be mostly Maxime de Kuyper. We're going to see a lot of set piece taking defenders here, and I'll get to that as we go to prices, but he's just the first of many. And there's also a chance that Zolis maybe take a small share, but not as likely. Ugh. And Aston Villa Bayern, it should be Yuri Tielemans and either Digne or Bailey splitting. Bit of a toss of which one actually does. And then for Bayern, it should be Kimmich and Olise. Benfica Atleti. For Benfica, it should be Di Maria and Kochku splitting. And for Atleti, it should be a Griezmann monopoly. Dynamo Zagreb Monaco. Ah, my dog. He's got another small thing. For Monaco, if Golovin is in, it should be Golovin and Henrique splitting. If he is not, and it's this lineup, it should be Lamine Camara and Henrique. For Dynamo Zagreb, it should be Baturina and maybe Misic splitting. Lille Real Madrid, it should be Cabela and Zagrova on Lille. And for Real Madrid, it should be Arda Güler. Potential monopoly in this team. There's a chance that Rodrigo splits. Güler hasn't taken sets in a couple games, actually, but just because Modric has been playing with them and Modric is the main set taker for them, I expect Güler to be the main man in this team. I'm not sure he starts though. Mbappe is off the injury report. He was missed the weekend game with a knock, but I've read that he's good to go. I'm a little surprised FootMob doesn't have him in projected. I expect him to be there from the start. And if he is in there, it should be Rodrigo Monopoly. Liverpool Bologna, it is Robertson and Alexander Arnold splitting. If Tsimikas is in for Robertson, he'll just have the split instead. If Trent Alexander Arnold somehow doesn't start, it should be Szoboszlai and whoever starts at left back. For Bologna, it should be mostly Lika Giannis, or Cellini maybe takes a little bit. Maybe Abisher takes a little bit. They're kind of weird. For Leipzig, it should be Raum and Xavi Simons. They're pretty clear cut on a split. And for Juventus and this team, I expect it to be mostly Koopmaners with maybe Fagioli splitting, maybe Cambiasso taking one or two. If Douglas Luiz is in, it should be a full-on split, but we'll see how they line up. Match day and prices. Harry Kane, most expensive attacker. It's interesting he's questionable. I haven't really seen anything about that. He's in projected. I wouldn't worry about that too much. I expect him to start. Mbappe, I expect to start too, despite being questionable. And then we get to like the next big name is Griezmann. I think he's super in play. Like I expect that Benfica Atleti game to be pretty end to end. Like I know Atleti are kind of known to be like a team that sits back, but despite that, Griezmann still gets his work and gets crosses, key passes, shots. So he's interesting. Vinicius is not bad. And now Mohamed Salah. For me, this is a lock. Best matchup on the slate. He's severely underpriced. He should be up there with your Kane, with your Mbappe. Instead, he's like 2K cheaper. So like that's an insane misprice for me. Like he's a core play despite not being a set piece taker. He's got a bit of a floor just in shots. Like I love Salah here. I like the goal scoring odds, but I'd be surprised if he wasn't top two or three, maybe even number one. Now Rodrigo. I like Rodrigo a lot if no Guler and it's Mbappe starting. Should be Rodrigo Monopoly, and then I think it's between going Salah and then one of Griezmann or Rodrigo at second forward. There's not a ton of guys I'm super interested in here. I'm probably gonna pass on your Kane, on your Mbappe, just because I'd rather have guaranteed set pieces, especially for cheaper, pairing with Salah already. And the rest of these guys, like they feel pretty GPP to me. Like Jota, I think is underpriced at 6,700. I don't mind that even in cash, frankly. But then like there's just not a ton here. Conceição, I expect him to have potentially some sets if he's in. I don't mind that. But like it's not really a stack forward slate like we got for the Barcelona City slate we just had. Like there's not like three severely underpriced Barca forwards here. There's only just kind of just one Mohamed Salah, and then everyone else is kind of fairly priced. So like there's not for cash at least there's not a ton of these guys I'm super interested in. Jota, if he was in projected for Sturmgratz, I think. Like a 3,500 forwards, like they're not even that much of a dog. Like Sturmgratz are plus 190. It's a pretty even game. So for a dirt cheap forward, I think that's a good GPP play. You could maybe make an argument to even go there and cash, like pay up in mids, but I'm about to get into them there, and I just don't see a ton of great midfield options. Like there is Michael Olise, he's the best mid on the slate, but it's not a crazy favorable matchup. Like I could see myself playing it just because there's just a lack of solid options. Like Koopman is just kind of whatever. Di Maria kind of whatever with a split now. Shabby Simons kind of whatever. Image kind of whatever for that price and not a ton of upside. Like there's no lock midfielder here. Makes it a pretty difficult um slate for that position because of that. Like Golovin is all right, I suppose. Modric, I'm not really interested in. Tielemans, not really interested in. Like these set takers are just not super appealing. Like I'd love Zagrova here if he wasn't playing Real Madrid. Even with that matchup, I don't think he's a horrible play. Like the guy I'm kind of looking at it the most here is Tommy Horvat. He's like the only monopoly set piece taker in the midfield position. Like it's not a bad matchup against Bruges. I know he got subbed at half last game, but I don't really expect that to be the norm. Like 6K is a fair price for a monopoly set piece taker with not a bad matchup. Like I could really get behind a Tony Horvat play. It's kind of weird as it is. You don't consider Sturmgratz player a UCL viable option, but that's just how bad the midfield options are here. Coach Good, not really interested in. And then like there's just nothing. There is a guy that I will get to when I see him. Arda Güler, 4,100. That's a pretty good option. You just know that he's going to get subbed is the issue there. So I worry slightly about that, but 4,100, you can't really do much worse. And the other guy that I pass him is Lamine Kamara. If there's no Golovin, I'm super interested in that. He'll have stats at that point, and for 3,600, like I know he similarly to Horvat, he's another guy who got subbed at halftime, but that's because Monaco were playing Barca, and it was on a yellow, and they were up a man, so they kind of changed things up. I don't expect him to get subbed normally, and if he starts with no Golovin, like I think that's super tempting. So, like those are the kind of big three names I'm thinking about: Kamara, Horvat. Who's my other guy? Oh yeah, Arda Güler. They're all cheap. All have set pieces, and then I think you pair with like an Elise potentially. Defenders. Now this, like I said before, is a stack defender slate. Alexander Arnold, set piece taker. Raum, set piece taker. Robertson, Dinier. There's a couple more. De Kuiper, Sayo Enrique, look at Giannis. They're all set piece takers. There's about two on the slate today. Now there's like what, six, seven? Makes it hard to narrow down who to play. Like I people faded Alexander Arnold last Champions League slate, which I thought was kind of surprising considering his upside. He rewarded people who played him. Same with Simicas. I don't know if they're as much if they're as much locks now as they were last time out just because there's so many options. Like if we're going for the volume set taker, it is the Kuiper. He has the largest share out of all these guys. Toughest matchup though compared to all the minus favorite guys. So like it's just a hard decision to make. I think Alexander Arnold I probably end up going just because of the matchup, because of his upside and how much he gets forward. He's kind of been going back to more of a 90-minute play. He hasn't gotten subbed last few games. So I'm probably just gonna land on him. I might even go both him and Robertson just purely because of matchup. But then it's just tough to know that you're fading a Raum, you're fading a Kuiper, you're fading a Chilo Enrique. I think likely I end up going three defenders in cash just because I like so many of these guys. But still, have to make some decisions there, even if you have three of them. Goalie, I didn't talk about goalie yesterday. It ended up being who was the best one? Hradecki, I think. Like 5 saves and a clean sheet. It's always a crapshoot. Package the punt was like super worth it against Man City. Could maybe make the same argument for a Skorupski play or a Emi Martinez play. Just a random position. Play who fits always. Don't focus on it too much. In terms of a core, I've been delivering over this since prices came out, and I'm just not sure. Like, if we see Arda Guler in and it's not a Rodrigo Monopoly, I probably just go Salah Griezmann in my core, and then I think Alexander Arnold. I'd probably do that. If Arda Guler is in, I'm still having Salah. Like he's the lot core play. But Alexander Arnold, I'm tentatively putting in there for now. And it's tough again. I think I go Rodrigo. Pretty sure. I think I go two forwards in core just because it's going to be only so many set piece takers. And I'd like to have one of them with Salah, whether that be Griezmann or Rodrigo. But yeah, pretty interesting looking slate here, guys. I love a defender slate. So many guys to play, so many choices to be made, and good luck. I'll see you for the next video.